The moment this barefoot Filipino boy stepped onto the Ireland's Got Talent stage, nobody expected anything special. But 30 seconds later, the entire theater was in tears, the judges were frozen in disbelief, and somewhere backstage, even Simon Cowell was openly crying, whispering one sentence that would change this boy's life forever. Before this story unfolds, make sure you subscribe, because stories like this prove that miracles are real. The lights inside the Ireland's Got Talent theater glowed softly as the audience settled into their seats, unaware that they were about to witness a moment that would echo across continents. Backstage stood a young Filipino boy named Miguel Santos, only 13 years old, clutching a worn-out guitar with peeling varnish and strings that had clearly been replaced more than once. His clothes were simple, his shoes were borrowed, and his hands trembled not from fear of the judges, but from the weight of a life that had demanded strength far beyond his age. Miguel was not born into music studios or privilege. He was born in a small fishing village in the Philippines where mornings began before sunrise and nights ended with hunger more often than comfort. His father was a fisherman who never returned from a storm when Miguel was only 6 years old. His mother, Maria, worked long hours cleaning houses, doing laundry, and selling street food just to keep food on the table. Music was never a dream in their home. It was survival that mattered. Yet somehow, music found Miguel. It began with an old radio salvaged from a junk pile near the docks. The radio barely worked, but late at night, when the signal was clear, Miguel would hear voices from another world. One night, a song came on that stopped him completely. The voice was deep, soulful, and filled with longing. It was Elvis Presley singing Can't Help Falling in Love. Miguel didn't know the language well, but he felt the emotion immediately. It sounded like someone singing directly from the heart, like someone who knew pain, hope, and love all at once. From that night on, Miguel became obsessed. He memorized Elvis songs phonetically, copying the sound without fully understanding the words. He practiced singing while walking to school, while helping his mother cook, and while sitting alone on the beach after sunset. He imagined standing on a big stage somewhere far away, singing not for money but to be heard. Years passed, and life only became harder. When Miguel was 10, his mother fell seriously ill. Medical bills piled up, and Miguel dropped out of school to help earn money. He sang on the streets, outside markets, and near ferry terminals. Some people stopped. Many ignored him. A few laughed at the idea of a Filipino child singing American rock and roll. But Miguel kept singing, because when he sang Elvis, he felt less alone. One evening, a tourist from Ireland stopped to listen. She recorded a short video on her phone and posted it online with a simple caption, "This boy sings Elvis like he's lived 1,000 lives." The video slowly gained attention. It was shared across social media, eventually reaching someone connected to Ireland's Got Talent. When Miguel and his mother received the email invitation, they thought it was a scam. It took weeks of confirmation before they believed it was real. A charity organization helped them secure passports and flights. It was the first time Miguel had ever left his village, his country, or his mother's side for more than a few hours. Standing backstage in Ireland, Miguel felt smaller than ever. The theater was massive. The audience was loud. The judges were famous. He had heard stories about Simon Cowell being brutally honest, sometimes cruel. Miguel whispered a prayer, not for victory, but for courage. When his name was called, he walked onto the stage under bright lights that made it impossible to see the audience clearly. His hands shook as he introduced himself. The judges smiled politely, expecting something modest, perhaps forgettable. When asked why he chose Elvis, Miguel simply said that Elvis helped him survive. The music began. The first note left Miguel's mouth, and the atmosphere in the room changed instantly. His voice was rich, emotional, and shockingly mature. It carried a depth that didn't match his age but perfectly matched the pain and hope he had lived through. He sang "Love Me Tender," and every word felt real, as if he was telling his own story through Elvis's voice. The audience fell silent. One judge leaned forward. Another covered her mouth. Even the cameramen seemed stunned. Miguel closed his eyes as he sang, forgetting the judges, forgetting the cameras, and returning to the beach where he once sang to the ocean. Halfway through the song, something unexpected happened. Miguel's voice cracked slightly, not from mistake, but from emotion. Tears rolled down his face, and the audience began crying with him. This was not a performance. This was a confession. Backstage, Watching on a monitor, Simon Cowell stood frozen. He had seen thousands of auditions across decades. He had heard perfect voices and flawless technique. But this was different. This was truth. Simon wiped his eyes, visibly emotional, unable to look away. As the final note faded, there was a brief moment of silence before the entire theater erupted into a standing ovation. People screamed, cried, and clapped as if trying to give Miguel everything he had ever been denied. The judges struggled to speak. One told Miguel that they had never felt something so pure on that stage. Another admitted she forgot she was judging a competition and felt like she was witnessing destiny. When Simon Cowell finally walked onto the stage, the audience gasped. He looked at Miguel, eyes red, voice unsteady, and said that he had spent his life searching for moments like this, moments that remind him why music matters. Then came the twist no one expected. Simon revealed that he had personally arranged vocal training, financial support for Miguel's family, and an opportunity to record professionally regardless of the competition's outcome. He said that this boy did not come to be judged. He came to be discovered. Miguel broke down completely, sobbing into his mother's arms as she joined him on stage. The audience cried even harder. It was no longer about winning. It was about a life changing in real time. But the story didn't end there. Days later, news outlets questioned the authenticity of the moment. Some accused the show of exaggeration. Others doubted Miguel's background. The internet turned skeptical, and the joy was briefly overshadowed by doubt. Miguel saw the comments and almost lost his confidence. He wondered if his pain was being used as entertainment. Then another twist arrived. The tourist who had first recorded Miguel released the original street video, unedited and raw. Local people from his village spoke out, confirming his story. Teachers shared messages about the boy who sang through hardship. The narrative shifted again, and this time, the world listened. Miguel returned to the Ireland's Got Talent stage for the finals, stronger, more confident, and singing a powerful Elvis medley that showed growth without losing authenticity. He didn't just sing better. He sang freer. Whether he won the competition or not no longer mattered. His life had already changed. He returned home not as a poor street singer, but as a symbol of hope. His mother received medical care. His village built a small music school in his honor. And Miguel continued singing, not to escape pain, but to transform it. Today, Miguel says that Elvis gave him a voice, but the world gave him a reason to use it. And somewhere out there, another child is listening to a broken radio, dreaming of a stage they've never seen. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to subscribe, because stories like Miguel's remind us that talent is everywhere, even in places the world forgets to look.